Hello and welcome back to the Academy. Today's topic is going to be chases and everything you need to know to play them, run them, and potentially to write them as well. There are two types of events that use the chase rules. There are chases and races. With a chase, there are two aspects to deal with. One side of the chase is the predator, the other side is the prey. In this case, the predator is attempting to catch the prey, and the prey is attempting to escape the predator. On the other hand, with races, the various sides are all attempting to reach the goal before their competition. Whether this is a 200-meter dash with every competitor out for themselves, or a team working together to win a race in a souped-up food truck against an outlaw biker gang. Both the races and the chases are going to mostly follow the same rules. However, I will make note in the video in a few spots where the rules do differ. No matter which framework you choose, every participating team is going to accumulate chase points. With a chase, successful checks can earn points for your side, while a failure can give points to your opponent. However, with races, a success earns points for your racer, while failures loses points for your racer. Within a chase scene, certain things work like they would in combat. First, everyone participating rolls initiative and acts in a turn order. Second, on their turn, characters can take a regular action, bonus action, and free action like usual. Lastly, they can also take reactions. There are some important differences from the way combat generally runs, though. The first is that chases don't use surprise. Next is movement. Since everyone is considered to be moving, movement isn't really used. Though if a participant takes an action that would require them to stop moving, like hiding, administering first aid, or falling prone, or if the character is reduced to half movement or less, it would grant their opponent one chase point. Third would be range. In most cases, you're not going to be close enough to use hand-to-hand or melee attacks. But you should be able to use most ranged attacks. Another difference is that, except with very limited circumstances, suppressive fire is not able to be used during a chase. However, area of effect attacks, like those caused by a grenade, are allowed. Although if used by a predator, it may lead to a situation where they have to travel through that area of effect. Lastly, since AoE is an option, so is the dive for cover reaction. This doesn't require you to actually have available cover, nor must you fall prone, though for each character that dives for cover, their opponent does gain one chase point. Lastly, chases have a limit on how many turns they will run. Now, before initiating a chase, three things need to be done. First, you have to determine who is the predator and who is the prey. Next, the GM will announce the chase DC. Lastly, everyone needs to roll initiative. Now, at the beginning of each round, the GM will announce the complication that the heroes must overcome before taking their actions that turn. Complications take two forms. One is a hazard and will require them to make a saving throw to avoid the hazard. The other is a challenge and will require the heroes to make an ability check to overcome the challenge. After the complication is resolved, tally up the scores for the participants. Next, the players and NPCs take their turns in initiative order. Now, there are some new actions that your heroes can perform during a chase. First is the brace action, which allows the characters to prepare themselves for the next saving throw or ability check that they have to make. This is a great option if the character has no good or helpful actions that they can make that turn. The other special action is the gain ground action. This allows the hero to initiate an opposed skill check to either hinder their opponent or to make things easier on themselves. In the core rulebook, running from page 273 through page 286, is a section containing some examples of gain ground options that can be used. Now, after everyone has taken their turn, check and see if the chase is over. A chase ends in one of three circumstances. First, the turn limit for the chase is reached. If this happens, whichever side has the most points wins. In the event of a tie, the predator wins. Second, if all participants on one side fall out or are incapacitated, the chase ends and the other side wins. Lastly, if one side is ahead by a predetermined amount of points, then that side wins the chase. The last topic to cover with chases is vehicles. Most of the actions remain the same in vehicular chases, with a few notable exceptions. The biggest change is that the driver is the only one making the vast majority of saving throws and ability checks. They're the only one who can take the brace action. The passengers' gain ground options tend to generally focus on ability checks that target characters on the other side of the chase, like taunting or distracting the other driver. Or they can aid their own driver by acting as a navigator, or engaging their opponents in combat. The other big change is going to be based on vehicle speed. The speed of the prey vehicle determines the speed of the chase. The predator couldn't effectively chase the prey if it's moving faster than it. However, if the prey has a higher top speed, the GM could rule that it escapes without a need for a chase. However, in most cases, the chase takes place in a situation where the vehicles can't move at their top speed, making a skilled driver a key to a successful chase. The last topic to consider with vehicular chases is mounted combat. Ranged attacks made from the back of a mount or from a moving vehicle are made at disadvantage. With all that being said, I'm going to give you an example of a chase sequence. This sequence is taken from Highlander, the Dark Gathering special event. In this scenario, you're on the second floor of a shopping mall and have spotted an enemy who is attempting to evade you when the chase begins. Now, the difficulty for this chase is set at a DC 15. This is a quick chase set for 4 rounds. Now, the round 1 chase is called Down Escalator. Hoping you'll zig when he zags, the runner bounds down an escalator heading for the mall's ground floor. The challenge for this round is an acrobatics or athletics check. So you can either hop onto the middle of the escalator and slide down after him, making a dexterity or acrobatics check, or you can make a daring leap over the side rail, making a strength or athletics check. Now in this case, the strong and tough heroes decide to vault over the railing and thus make athletics checks with a result of a 12 and a 20. The agile and wise heroes slide down the escalator with a 14 and a 9 on their acrobatics checks, resulting in 0 points for the 12 and 14 since they are failures, but gaining 2 points for the 20 since it beats the DC by 5 or more. However, the enemy gains 1 point for the 9 since it's 5 or more under the DC. The heroes decide to gain ground on the enemy. In this case, those who leapt over the railing make an opposed athletics check, whereas those who slide down make an opposed acrobatics check. The results of these rolls are an 11 and 18 versus a 3 for the athletics check, and a 9 and 23 versus the 12 for the acrobatics check. This nets the heroes 3 more points for the chase. Round 2, the food court. Your quarry tears into a food court, hoping the fast food workers and janitors starting to clean up for the night will trip you up. The challenge for this one is a stealth or perception check. Now, option 1, you can attempt to slip past the people in the food court without disturbing anybody, making a dexterity or stealth check. Or you can look ahead to find a better route around the side with a wisdom or perception check. Now this time, the agile, tough, and strong heroes try the stealth route, while the wise hero goes with their perception. With rolls of 10, 11, 13, and 23 respectively, the 10 gives 1 point to the enemy. The 11 and 13 are both regular failures and give no points to anybody, and the 23 gives the heroes 2 points. Now for their gain ground attempt on this round, the heroes are going to try to steer into their previous decisions, and the first 3 are going to attempt to sneak through the food court by making stealth checks opposed by their opponent's perception, and the wise hero is going to attempt an opposed perception check to find the best path. The results are a 21, 10, and 16 versus a 21, and the wise hero gets a 17 versus a 22. Now these 4 results gain the enemy 2 points for rolling a 21 and beating the heroes 10 and 16 by more than 5 points. I'm not going to run you through the final 2 rounds, but this should give you a pretty good overview of chases and their mechanics. I know they're complex and the information is spread around in the book a bit, but once you get the hang of them, they are an incredibly fun mechanic. So once again, thank you for joining me. If you found this useful, please like and subscribe. Also, if you have any questions or requests, please leave them in the comments.